All right, it is 10:52 a.m.
Ooh, late start.
It is a late start. I'm officially hitting go in 3, 2, 1. 12 hours.
Ooh.
Let's do it.
So we're just talking about what we're doing today?
We're talking about what we're doing today, friends. Welcome to a brand new channel. We don't even know what the name of the channel is yet.
Sure don't. Maybe we'll figure that out today.
Well, we kind of, by the time this goes out, we have to figure it out. We are doing the Table in a Day challenge today, brought to us by our friends at Penland. So our aim is very simple. We're gonna hit go on a timer, and we have 12 consecutive hours to build a table, start to finish. Does it have to have finish on it at the end?
No. It has to be assembled. So the idea is you can start the day with a rough plan, but you can't have cut any material. And you have to end with a standing table. It doesn't actually have to have finish on it.
Amazing.
Yeah, because mine won't.
Do you know what you're gonna do?
I have a function that I need to fulfill.
It's a table, dog.
I know.
Like the function is kind of built into the idea.
Well, I have like a purpose.
Same. I have an idea. I know it's gonna be a...
So I wanted to add like a fun design element, so I'm gonna give it. And that's the thing I haven't figured out yet.
That's the cliffhanger. Let's get busy.
Woo!
All right, let's dive into what we're actually doing on screen instead of just making fun of one another whilst on screen.
That's what people want, Eric.
That
Let's
is
be
what
honest.
the people have come for. Tell us what you're doing.
So here's the thing. I planned nothing about this table except for like a vague idea, which meant that I did not have the material on hand that I actually needed to build it. So instead of having 8/4 ash, I had 4/4 ash, and I had to mill it up and laminate two pieces together to get the close-ish to 2-inch leg squares that I needed. And when I do this, I traditionally rip the board and track the order in which I ripped them so that I can book match them and get this like even, predictable, comfortable looking grain. And the glue seam isn't jarring with grain running into each other in a mismatched way. So I glued my legs together. And did they finish at 2 inches? Absolutely not. They sure didn't. Are we at hour 3?
2 hour check-in.
Oh, great.
2 hours and 15 minutes.
Okay. These legs are already too skinny, which is fine. It's intended to be a little bit spidery anyway. I mean, it's Table in a Day. It's gonna be fine.
So you got leg stock cut. You're about to laminate them?
Yeah.
Overachiever.
Am I an overachiever?
Yeah, I just got my stuff rough cut right now.
Well, yeah, but you were dealing with way wonkier material.
True statement.
I'm being kind and supportive.
In fairness, you are usually kind and supportive to all of my shenanigans, and that's why I appreciate you, friend.
You need me.
You do. Emotionally, I do. So as far as the thing that I'm building, I am building just a little side table, and I started with this big leaf maple that I've had on hand for a little while. This is the other section of the tree from a piece I made last year, and it's really, really beautiful stuff. But it's difficult to work with. You can see how warped and wonky it is. And I'm doing the thing I normally do, which is be very over particular about grain orientation and direction. So I'm laying out what components I want where so I can pull straight grain or curved grain where I want it, where I got it. And then I just start chopping it up. So here's where I'm at after 2 hours and 15 minutes. I've got my leg stock here. These still need to get split in half and then laminated. I've got my top here, which is gonna be, this is gonna be lovely. This crotch book match right here, right?
Fancy.
I know. I mean, it's just a stupid bedside table, so like, how can we zhuzh it up? And also, I don't use crotch anywhere in my work. So this feels like a really good opportunity to take something that is pretty, that has no real place, and highlight it. So I think it's lunchtime now, because I'm hungry. So what do you got? What are you bringing to the table here?
I wrote some things down. Most of them are terrible, but I was just trying to get like ideas.
Safe
flowing.
space, spitballing, yep.
My first one was good enough.
You know what? I was on that same page. So I wanted to go good enough, but it's taken like good enough.
Okay, that makes sense.
Kind of good, all of
Sure.
those things, they're already taken up. What is available is kind of nailed it.
Okay.
You know, then you get a little woodworky pun. There's a lot of kinda or kind of in here, just to like vary it up.
Okay.
But kind of friends.
Rude.
Well, woodworking friends was taken and lame.
Oh, sure. Woodworking friends. That would have been. We could have had
friends.
like rainbow.
That's a kid show.
Take a look, it's in a book.
Woodworking friends.
Why do we do this? But that seems like there's definitely got to be.
That's a really good one. But let's check real quick. No, it's taken. But how about this? 2 decent minds. You know? Not stupid, but not brilliant, you know?
I'm not mad at that.
You know? There's a lot of, all of them have kind of this feel to it. It has a shrug emoji after it.
Woodworking is hard, but because we say it all the time, but it's really close to woodworking is bull, and I didn't want it to be.
Oh, that's fine. Woodworking is hard. That's a good one.
Okay, great.
Let's see. We do say that
All the time.
all the time.
Yeah.
Oh,
Available?
it's open. Is it woodworking is hard?
I think it might be.
Welcome to Woodworking is Hard,
Woo!
friends.
It's already hard. I already messed up these legs. So I don't always draw full-scale drawings of what I'm going to make, but in this case, I decided that I wanted the front legs to splay out so that the feet looked like they had like movement and characterness. So I needed to have like a full-scale drawing to look back to as I started making cuts. So after I milled the legs square and got them to the biggest dimension that I could, whatever that landed on, I started thinking about the stretchers and started pondering how I was going to cut all the angles on everything to get it right. And I knew that it wasn't going to go super smoothly the first time, so I was like laying out my pieces on my drawing and testing them and setting as many measuring tools as I could to what I wanted so that I didn't have to walk back and forth through, our vast shop 1,000 times. So I set a T-bevel and did like a bunch of practice cuts and kept walking back and forth and testing it against my drawing and hesitating, failing, succeeding.
What was making you hesitate?
Because I, in good planning, didn't have a huge amount of like setup practice material. I wasn't like hesitant on the design. It was more like, all right, I only have so much ash. Let's not screw this up.
Okay, so it was a lack of practice pieces.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And at the same time, I was like resawing material to make the sock laminations that I was going to like wrap around the legs. So I was working with multiple pieces at the same time. And then when I finally got everything dialed in, I thought, how am I going to join this together? And my first thought was just do pocket screws. You've got a day. Just do it. Just do it. But I couldn't bring myself to do it. So I borrowed your domino and decided to test that.
And you went through a whole emotional arc right here.
I
did. It was the consternation after a number of seconds met by acceptance.
You know what that is? Honest woodworking.
That's honest woodworking. That's raw, uncut woodworking right there, friends.
100%.
So my milling process was very similar to yours. I didn't have any 8-quarter stock, so I milled up a bunch of 4-quarter. I laminated them together. And as I was doing that, I was working on the other components. So I'm working on gluing up the top, gluing up the legs, making sure all of the components are at rough size. This top was a kind of a nightmare to work with. Because
Shocker.
yeah,
Because grain like that is so
it's
easy.
It's so pleasant. It's so kind and forgiving. It burned when I put it through this drum sander. You can see the big black marks on the side of the board there, and that was a real issue. Planing this stuff, there's something in this material, and I experienced it the first time I used it, that dulls sharp edges very, very quickly. I don't know if it's a high silica content of just this particular tree where it grew, but listen. It's pretty, so you make adjustments and you try to do the thing that'll make it work. Ultimately, spoiler, it did end up working, so it wasn't a big deal. It was just a little bit of a pain in the butt. And then, I'm basically doing the same. We're both making tables.
True.
So we're going through the same process. We're milling up legs. We're cutting them down. I'm throwing things into the trash can and trying to avoid hitting you in the head. And milling things down to the same size, planning them out. And I chose to do a more traditional mortise and tenon, largely because I had the origin at my disposal. I mean, you have an origin as well. But I had the extra time because I wasn't worrying about splaying them.
I was going to say, you didn't have funky angles.
Also, in fairness, this table is a thing that I was about to teach.
Totally.
So I decided that this is the thing that the class is going to be based around. So let's go ahead and do this thing front to back. So I made these haunched mortise and tenons and knocked them out in a matter. I know, I'm such a good fancy boy.
I do
sometimes.
love a haunch, I'm not going to lie.
Is that a t-shirt? Is that our first t-shirt? I love a haunch. There's 7 people who will get that joke, but it's kind of good.
It's pretty good.
I like it. This tapering jig, for what it's worth, is about the most janky thing that you could do in a shop.
Honestly.
But it works.
I know.
If you don't have a more proper tapering jig, just cut the bloody taper into a piece of MDF and you have a little hook. The only difference between this tapering jig and a more, quote, traditional tapering jig is a clamping system at the top.
Right.
That's all there is. So if I had put a block on top and then clamped it down, people would have been like, yeah, that works. That's good.
Here's our second shirt.
Here's...
Clamps make me feel safe.
That's good. That is good. I also have to point out when I got the taper off of the table saw and I had more burning on this maple yet again, I sat there for a good minute and a half and was like, I don't know how, am I going to sand it out? Am I going to plane it out? And this is the value of friendships and shopmates, friends. I turned to Larissa and she just had this dumbfounded look on her face and she was like, why wouldn't you just run it over the jointer? And I was like, oh yeah, that is an option, isn't it? I don't taper things hardly ever, straight tapers, so I never think about it. And it's good to have people around you who are like, stop overthinking and being a dum-dum, just run it over the jointer. So that's what I did, and 10 minutes later it was done.
Oh, and right on time.
Oh, I mean, it's not done.
You see that? 12 hours, 3 minutes. That's a table.
It's a table. That
It's
is
a
true.
table.
It
It's a
doesn't have a
table.
top.
I'm gonna assemble my table, and then we'll talk about where we're at.
All right, so we agreed recently, I'd say in the last half hour,
Yes.
that for us, table in a day is going to mean a full 24.
It's really more of a philosophical idea
I
than
think
it
it's
is a
a-
hard limitation.
You know what I think it says about us? That we are not only open-minded, but we're not quitters,
That part.
right?
That part. I mean, look, here's the reality. We could put a top on that and glue this up, and we could say we made 2 tables in a day.
It's true.
But that is... I'm unwilling to quit
Right.
for a kind of okay thing.
Yeah. I think maybe for a table in a day, we were a little bit too fine furniture-y.
I still think the premise is a table in a day,
Yes.
and a day is 24 hours.
According to the official rules.
According to the laws of the United States of America, 1 day is 24.124 hours.
I think...
I don't know what that
You know what I'm going to
extra
say? Next
percentage is.
year, we should take on
We
the
do
same...
it. We do a 24.
No. We try again for 12.
Okay.
Leave the door open for 24.
Okay.
But we plan them.
What did you say?
That would have given us a lot more of a head start.
I like it. So this is halftime, guys. This video is already 7 days long, so enjoy the second half.
I mean, I filmed basically nothing that I did today, so...
We got it. We got it. We got it in one. We got it in one. Okay, bye.
did ruin it myself. There is that.
I just want it to be clear that I did not.
It's good, because I didn't record any of what you just said, so it's fine.
You know what?
Any Hoosiers, the tables are done.
Are they besties? Yeah.
They are besties. All right, very briefly, we've already tried to record this outro twice. And so here we are.
Third time's a charm is what they say,
Third
right?
time's a charm. The
We've
tables
had
are done.
many wardrobe changes.
We've had much wardrobe changes. So here we are. This is where we're at right now. One table is done and it looks like a side table, and another table is.
Mostly done and looks like a creature.
Listen, you guys don't know Andre. You should know Andre. Andre Rucker on Instagram. He's a goddamn hero of a human being.
True.
And also, Loretta.
So close.
This is gonna be an issue. Larissa's partner and husband, and it doesn't not look like Andre.
Oh, that's funny. Just because it's tall and skinny.
I mean, I could also see Andre walk. In fairness, I've never seen Andre at like 7 o'clock in the morning, but I feel like loose floppy socks are kind of his vibe.
That goes without saying.
Oh, that's hilarious. I won't disclose what actually happens because that's private. I did run this concept past Andre before I did it because it is an idea that I feel like he would have had if he made furniture, which he doesn't. But I felt like it was in that vein. So how do you feel about your design? Like what succeeded? What didn't?
It's a table. It's a table. It's fine. What I wanted was to build a table in a day, and I did it in 2 days. And I wanted a thing that looked nicer than the side table I currently have, which it does do that. And also, I needed to prototype the class that I am now teaching in 3 days. And it was all of those things. So in that regard, it's a success. Where I think it's a little bit questionable is while I think the grain orientation for the top is lovely and delightful and is a peacock. It is a peacock.
Are you going to show the people what you're talking about?
They'll see it in the B-roll. I could see where it would be interpreted otherwise. Art is subjective, and you see what you want to see in the world. That's what I always say. So
Is that what you always
that's
say?
what I
You're
always
always
say.
saying that. Yeah.
I'm always saying that. So it's fine. It's a table. It's a table, and it's done. That's how I feel about it. How do you feel about that one?
My table is not done. It's so close though. So I have to add the profile to my top and sand it and then put finish on the whole thing. So it's pretty darn close. My goal was to focus on this sock concept just to try it out and see, because I'm like leaning into furniture that I find fun to make, and what that's coming out as is like a childhood or a childish something in me.
I think it's a lovely little table, dog.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see it with a plant on it.
Me too. The plant's gonna give it like a hair effect, which I think is really gonna bring the whole concept.
And I cannot stress this enough. The type of plant that you choose for this table is going to go a long way in determining what type of character it is.
It's gonna be a night blooming cereus. So
I don't know what that looks like. I feel like it could be like side swoopy, like emo, kind of situation.
the plant that I have in my house currently that needs a table is a night blooming cereus. So it has like really long stems and big leaves at the bottom.
By the way, Larissa and I have been friends for 3, 4 years? 7
years.
lifetimes. I've been in their house one time. So at some point, I'm going to have to sneak in there and find out what this table looks like.
People don't need to know that.
Okay, we're going to go now. Hope you enjoyed this video and come back for the next one. Yeah? Cheers, friends.
Goodbye.